Hi, Shana Tova Umetuka. Shana Tova, Happy New Year, Umetuka, and a Sweet New Year. And while we're talking about a sweet new year, I think it's interesting to look at the different symbols, the different foods that we have on the table for Rosh Hashanah. So there are various traditions, and different people incorporate some or all of these foods, and each of them has a significant meaning that we're going to explore together. So to start off with, probably the most famous, along with apples, is honey for a sweet new year. And in particular, dipping the apples in the honey, the apples for a whole complete round year, but also their sweetness, and the honey for its sweetness as well. Second are the pomegranates. The rimon or pomegranate is a special food for many reasons. It's one of the 7 species of Israel, and you can use it often as the new fruit that you say your Shechianu blessing over, because you want to say a Shechianu blessing on Rosh Hashanah, and you can do so when you eat a fruit for the first time in that season. So that's another reason that people use the pomegranate on their table. But also, the seeds of the pomegranate are symbolic of the mitzvot as well. The idea is that there are 613 seeds in a pomegranate to correspond with the 613 commandments as well. Next on the list is carrots. And here we need to go into the linguistics, because the Hebrew word for carrot, gezer, sounds a lot like gazar, the Hebrew word for decree. And so we eat them on Rosh Hashanah with already this idea of Yom Kippur in mind as well, and Hashem nullifying any negative decrees against us. Then next on the list is beetroot. Some people have spinach, but generally beetroot. The Hebrew word for beetroot is selek, and it's similar to the word for remove. And so when we eat the beetroot, we're hoping that Hashem will remove our enemies. And it's a powerful message for the coming year, for us to triumph over anyone who's against us. And this year in particular, our enemy is in an invisible form of COVID-19. So lots of beetroot on the table to triumph over that particular enemy. Number 5, beans tend to have black-eyed peas, but some people use green beans or fenugreek. And it's, again, a linguistic one, rubia, which connects to the word yirbu, to increase. And so these foods kind of come with the idea that it'll be a fruitful year, filled with merit and increasing. Then the head of a fish on the table. This is our hope that we will be like the head and not like the tail, that we should move forward, make progress, not kind of be at the back like the tail of the year. Maybe if you're a vegetarian, you could do a head of cabbage as a symbol on the table instead. Though I'm sure if you talk to Sam from the deli, he can find a way to incorporate the table that's delicious, maybe with some roasted garlic or lemon or something like that. But it is just a symbol. You can eat it if you would like, but not everybody does. In general, fish on the table is something that can be part of the meal. The fish as a symbol can be linked to ideas of being constantly aware of Hashem and our obligations to Hashem and our opportunities to do good, because fish swimming constantly. But that means you don't just have to have the head, you can have the rest of the fish as well. Next on the list is leeks. Leeks are related to the word karet, or to cut or cut off. And again, this is connected to this a message of strength, wanting to cut off those who wish to hurt us or harm us. I think gives us an insight to a lot of Jewish history and what people were concerned about, when you look at how many of these symbols are about offering us protection as well. Another tradition is to have gourds. The Hebrew word for gourd is related to rip, so kara, like the kriya that some of us may be familiar with. When someone passes away, you tear your clothing. So this word to rip, another word it's connected to is to announce. So there's the concept of Hashem ripping up any decrees against us, and that our good deeds will be announced before Hashem. And then famous food, another one of the special species of Israel, are the dates. It's a custom to have dates on the table as well. The Hebrew word for dates, tamarim, evokes the word tam, to end, and the hope that our enemies will end and be finished. But again, on a more positive note, there's that connection to the 7 species of Israel. And just a little side note there, most of you might know, but just in case, when we talk about Israel as the land flowing with milk and honey, we actually mean date honey. Because I've heard people say before about New Zealand, we're the land of milk and honey, and that would be true if we were talking about honey from bees, but in this case, it's date honey. So we are the land of milk and date honey. And then, just for fun, if you would like to add something extra to your Seder table, your Rosh Hashanah table, you can put on some celery. And it is customary to hold up the celery and pray that Hashem will raise all of our celeries. Shana Tova, Chag Sameach, and I hope you have a wonderful Rosh Hashanah.